It's Christmas time on This Week I Watched, and for that reason we're treating you all to a very special extended episode of the show, This Week I Watched Festive Edition. And you may be wondering which film I watched this week. Well, I've taken it upon myself to view and review 3 Christmas movies. One good, one bad, and one contentious. What does that mean? You're about to find out. I'm just kidding, it's Die Hard, that's the contentious one. I'm not going to drag that bit out. Now, why are we filming this in landscape? You'll also find out. Now, without any further ado, let's talk about what I watched this week. Welcome back to a very festive This Week I Watched, where this week I watched the 2003 Christmas classic, Elf, directed by Jon Favreau and starring Will Ferrell as Buddy, a human Christmas elf who ventures to New York City in search of his birth father Walter Hobbs, played by James Caan, meeting and falling in love with Zooey Deschanel's shop assistant character Jovi along the way. This is one of those films I look forward to and end up watching every holiday season. Will Ferrell feels like the perfect casting for Buddy, as he sells his emotional immaturity and his endless wonder in a way that never feels false, largely powered by his reactions to the real world. Ferrell's physical commitment to Buddy's entire character is definitely the main draw of the film, which is why the first chunk of this film is so wondrous and brilliantly funny. But while the fish out of water story makes for a fun first hour or so, they kind of run out of things for Buddy to do, so they have him run away from home and help Santa Claus evade law enforcement. I'm not saying that the last act is bad or unnecessary, especially as it gives me my favourite scene where the New Yorkers sing Santa Claus is Coming to Town. But for about 20 minutes after the hour mark, my eyes just kind of glaze over until it gets to the ending. But on a more positive note, I love how real and practical this movie looks. You can tell they filmed on location in New York City, and the scenes of Ferrell wandering around in full costume, interacted with complete strangers, unscripted, really helps sell the wonder of the film. The effects in the film's opening are really cool as well, using a similar technique to Lord of the Rings, where Buddy is made to appear oversized through really clever and effective use of forced perspective. I love watching the movie every year and pointing this out. I also love the brief usage of stop motion, not only as an homage to classic Rankin Bass Christmas films, but it helps add to the practical charm over something like CGI. Will Ferrell is obviously great in this, playing to his comedic strengths. Zooey Deschanel's character Jovi is a more underrated, deadpan performance, and acts as a great contrast to the hyperactive Buddy, as does James Caan's pessimistic character Walter, whose arc of accepting Buddy is nice and all, but my favourite moments actually come from him being mean and frustrated with Buddy. Such a good dynamic. Also, the scene in the mailroom where Buddy starts breakdancing is the funniest scene in the whole film. Overall, great performances and special effects and a fun premise carries the majority of this movie, and the ending makes up for the drag around the midpoint. There's a reason I watch this one every year. Jon Favreau really knows his stuff. Well, he knew his stuff. Kind of fell off. 8 thumbs up out of 10. Stick around. For every good Christmas movie, there always seems to be a bad one, and every film review needs a bit of negativity to balance it out. I trawled the depths of the 17 different streaming services I'm subscribed to, looking for some slop to consume, which is how I ended up deciding on Red 1. That's right, this week I sat through Jake Kasdan's 2024 holiday action comedy Red 1, starring Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons, and Lucy Liu. When Santa Claus is kidnapped, the head of North Pole Security, Callum Drift, teams up with deadbeat hacker Jack O'Malley to track Santa down before Christmas is ruined. This is the first time I'm hearing these character names, I don't remember anything. I'll preface this by getting the good parts out of the way because it will take me far less time. Chris Evans is marginally more likeable than I expected. He has a few funny beats and really seems to have found his post-Avengers niche as comedic scumbags, and really picks up Johnson's slack in the personality department. Also, the practical prosthetics and set design in the middle act sequence in Krampus's castle really worked well for me. This part of the film is one of the few that actually looks somewhat real. I wish they'd put that amount of effort into the rest of the movie's creatures and effects instead of blowing the budget on The Rock's salary, because everything else suffers as a result. As for the cons, Red 1 is one of the most second screen films I've watched in recent memory, with the exposition being fed in the laziest way possible, characters repeating every revelation and intention multiple times aloud, so viewers watching TikTok at the same time can follow the threadbare plot. The rest of the dialogue is quippy one-liners and cliches. I could have sworn Dwayne Johnson says the line, "You're gonna have to get through me first," at least 3 different times in the last act of the film. And speaking of The Rock, you might as well have replaced him with one because all he does is stand around looking big and bored. All of his action scenes have him played by an obvious digital double, and his lack of effort really makes you wonder why we should care if the lead actor can't even bring himself to. It's like his involvement was the result of an algorithm deciding which relevant actor would be funniest playing a Christmas elf. And J.K. Simmons and Lucy Liu are just there. Simmons' version of Santa Claus, which is yet another example of the weird, cool action Santa trope in recent memory, is asleep in a magic chair for the majority of his screen time, while Lucy Liu reads her lines over video call or stands around posing next to Dwayne Johnson. The plot is uninspired, with some forgettable mythology about a Christmas witch, and the majority of action fight scenes resemble that of a somniferous grey sludge. I don't think I'll be dashing through the snow to watch this red one ever again, despite the slightly engaging middle segment. More like brown one, because that's what it reminded me of. 4 thumbs up out of 10, and that's being generous. Now, wasn't that just entertaining? It feels good to complain every once in a while. Now, before the situation escalates, I think the crazy fan that broke into my house and has been holding me hostage wants to say something. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. This little game of yours has gone on for too long. Year after year, I'm in your comments section asking you to review my favourite Christmas film, and you never do it.
Year after year? What are you talking about? I've only been doing this for 6 months. I've never seen you or heard of you before in my life.
Is this not Chip Johnson's Variety Video Hour?
No, this is This Week I Watched with Karl.
Oh. Can I review my film anyway?
Well, I feel like something bad might happen if I say no, so, I mean, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello everybody, it's me, the crazy psychotic fan with a gun. This week I watched the 1999 animated Christmas film Olive, the Other Reindeer, a film that was a staple in my household back in the early 2000s. Created by Matt Groening, the mastermind behind The Simpsons, Olive the Other Reindeer follows Olive, a dog who identifies as a reindeer, on her quest to reach the North Pole and save Christmas from imminent cancellation after an injury puts one of Santa's reindeers out of action. On her way, she meets an array of wacky characters, including an evil postman who hates Christmas because of how much mail he has to deliver, and my personal favourite character, Martini, a con artist penguin who spends his days selling counterfeit Rolexes and stolen stationery in a dark alleyway. The plot of the film is solid, albeit a little simplistic, but that's par for the course when it comes to children's Christmas films, and the art style may feel a little uncanny to some, though I find it to be quite charming. And thanks to the Simpsons connection, you can guarantee this film is filled to the brim with all sorts of pop culture references to keep an eye out for. The best part about this film is that it's available for free on YouTube. Just look up Olive the Other Reindeer and you'll find it. It's only 45 minutes long, so it's not much of a time commitment, so why not give it a shot? That's about all there really is to say about this film. Go watch it for yourself. I give it 9 ho-ho-hos out of 10. But for the sake of transparency, that's probably just nostalgia talking. Do you wanna come back and do your review?
That was weird. He didn't even use my rating system. I've never even heard of that film. But I bet you guys have all heard of the film Die Hard. That's right, I'm not speaking German. I'm talking about John McTiernan's 1988 Christmas action film starring Bruce Willis, Alan Rickman, Bonnie Bedelia, and Reginald VelJohnson as New York cop John McClane has to take down a group of terrorists holding his wife's Christmas party hostage in a California skyscraper. What can I even say about this film that hasn't already been said? I'm not even going to bother with the whole Christmas film debate or not. It has enough Christmas elements for me to count it, so I'm just going to move on. This isn't Reddit. What was I saying? Oh, right. This film would be perfect at any time of the year. The premise is cool, and the casting of Bruce Willis as a tired, everyman beat cop thrown into the middle of the action is a great way to make John McClane more relatable, even if it's been done a million times since. As I've said in previous reviews, it's cool to see the action hero get hurt and be out of their depth, especially with the classic gag of McClane going barefoot the whole movie and his struggles with the other law enforcement characters. The characters are the film's greatest strength though. Apart from the now classic action hero John McClane, Alan Rickman's iconic portrayal of European terrorist Hans Gruber is obviously excellent. He's never over the top or overly outrageous, which is what makes him so much scarier and more memorable than your typical 80s bad guy. Reginald Vell Johnson and Bonnie Bedelia's characters Sergeant Al Powell and Holly McLean, respectively, bolster the film's supporting cast. Sergeant Powell acts as a great sidekick to John over the course of the film, and his backstory is surprisingly heavy despite its brevity. One complaint I have about the whole film in general, and his character, is how simple his overall arc is, with his triumphant moment in the final scene shooting the terrorist feeling a bit too easy as a resolution to his arc. Holly McLean shares some great scenes with Gruber, and it's interesting watching her and John's relationship develop over the course of the film. This is probably going to end up a really short review because there are only so many ways I can say how much I enjoy this film. Perfect action film in general, Die Hard is a great watch at Christmas time or any time of the year. Its characters are iconic, its comedic moments are hilarious, action scenes are very tense and inventive, and the only reason I can't give it 10 out of 10 is because the third film is the best one. Sorry, I don't make the rules, but I do make the ratings. 9 out of 10 thumbs. Ho ho ho! Now that we've reached the end of the inaugural festive edition, I want to say thank you to everyone that bothered to watch my series, This Week I Watched. I'd love to continue this series for as long as I can, as it gives me something productive to do between making films, and gives me an excuse to go to the cinema nearly every week. I hope you enjoyed this one-off extended episode, and please stick around for more. Like, subscribe, save me from this crazy guy in my house, turn on the notifications, SOS, Merry Christmas, he's got a gun, Feliz Navidad.